Welcome, welcome to the Sunday morning podcast, me sharing with you, hopefully you benefiting from the sharing. If not, then I won't see you later. I have this beautiful phenomenon that I have in my life that I've shared with you many times, but I want to continue with it because I think it's beautiful and it's helpful and it's illustrative. And it is really powerful for me in my life and hopefully for you also. So what happens is that I make an inquiry, I ask a question, and I do this on my computer so I can keep a record of what's being said and what's being shared, and this is the way that I help myself and help you. I ask this question, which is very kind of interesting about how this process all works and how we interact with others, how the effects of our lives, our friends, our family, and our different people, including the divine, interact with us and how that all works. So here is a beautiful treatise on what happens. And I'm going to share it with you because what they say to me is profound and in a special form that I cannot reproduce typically if I'm just talking. My question I asked was, when I'm writing on my own, how much inspiration and help are you giving me? What is the proportion of my brain versus what is you and what is combined? It's a very interesting question because I get the information through thought and they share with me, but I'm kind of curious as to how much of that is me, how much it's shared is inspiration, how much filter do I have in it, the process, and also how do I improve that? And so this is what came back to me from God. Intelligence comes from many sources. You have the experience and thought patterns from your past inside you, and it likes to come out and show off what it knows. You also have the connection with others that come with your conversations with them, and then the ongoing information exchanges that occur subsequent to the discussions. So we have all these things from the past, all this stuff that comes from our conversations, and then whatever comes as a result of that. For example, you have had many discussions over the years with your parents, Ron and Elaine. And thank you, Ron and Elaine, for all the discussions. They have since passed on to wherever they went, and I miss them dearly. But they did help me and shape me and teach me so much. And happy birthday, Dad. You receive teachings and ideas from them, and most of your thought and behavioral patterns have come from them. So they keep influencing you, your thinking and actions. Many of the traits and tendencies you have in various domains come directly from their influences. The thing that's very true is that, in those initial years, the formative learning years, everything pretty much comes from your parents and probably some siblings as well. And this is a very interesting kind of situation because so much of what we are, how we think, and our behaviors come from those initial stages from our parents. Now that they are in a different zone, meaning wherever they are, you may still be receiving ideas and impulses from them because they are interested in your progress. And they share ideas and love with you on a continuous basis. This is also true of many other people in your life who have loved and influenced you due to their relationship with you and because of their innate goodness. I just think that's a very interesting situation. I have this practice of communicating with my mom and dad, in this case my brother, after they die, and to check in with them and to be in touch with them. I think many people I've talked to have felt like that their parents, mother or father, have been with them at certain times. And this is a very interesting statement that They are sharing love and ideas with us on a continuous basis. I think that's a really beautiful concept that they can continue to help us from a different state. The ideas that come from us, which are a combination of the greatest ideas and collections of the best concepts that have risen above the other ideas presented over the ages of the universe, are carefully crafted based on your history, your interests, your ability to understand, your moods, your inquiries, and many other factors. This is a fascinating development of an analysis as to where all this comes from. So what I get from this is that the ideas that the divine share with us are a combination of the greatest ideas and collections of the best concepts. I think this is a beautiful kind of idea here, that we have the benefit of a filter that they provide for us, which is an accumulation of how many billion years of ideas, and that they're filtered by their perception of what are the best concepts, and also one that they have risen above the other ideas presented over the age of the universe. So you can imagine how many ideas have been presented over the age of the universe. What is it? We say now 13 billion years. Who knows? Maybe there's more than that. Likely there's more. But that's just what we can perceive. And that these ideas are carefully crafted based on your history, your interests, your ability to understand, your moods, your inquiries, and many other factors. I just think that's fascinating to have all those different criteria. The filters based on who we are, they're so contextual because it's based on our history, our interests, our ability to understand, our moods, our inquiries, and many other factors. This is, to me, is a very profound statement that enables us to realize that the ideas that come to us, our intuition, the responses to our inquiries, all that information is filtered just perfectly for us so that we can understand them. They're framed based on how we feel. Sometimes I'm not feeling great, sometimes I'm feeling better. And then what the actual inquiry is. I think it's interesting because there's a lot of stuff going on right now with artificial intelligence where you can go online and you can ask a question. And the question is perceived based on the text and the interpretation of that. But fancy if the artificial intelligence could use these different criteria that the divine are using, that the AI has no idea about. It has no idea about our history for the most part. A very little idea about our interests, no idea as to what we can understand, how the ideas should be shared with us, no idea what our mood is unless we tell it, and then it has obviously inquiry, but a limited version of that inquiry because it doesn't include like the feeling and the interest that we have based on that. So this is a very, very powerful and very loving way to share information with us based on these criteria. The ideas we share are blended into your current, sorry about that. My little mouse here is not helping me out. The ideas that come from us, which are a combination of the greatest ideas and collections of the best concepts. The ideas we share are blended into your current thinking and aptitudes and somewhat limited by your resistance, your fatigue levels, and your general sense of well-being. Another interesting set of filters, isn't it? Like they're blended into our current thinking, which is kind of where we are right now, our aptitude, which is important because if they tuck over our heads, it's not going to be able to get to us. And then limited by our resistance. I think that's a very, very key piece, because there's some times when I resist getting taught or getting talked to. And then when you have that kind of feeling about ourselves that we're not doing so great, sometimes that creates another filter. It is not easy to teach you when you are angry or sad or feeling poorly about yourself. So true. How receptive are we when we are angry or sad? I've been constantly impressed as to how they handle that, get me out of my little pity party or whatever is going on. However, there are always ideas that will pick you up and get you distracted from whatever thinking is holding you back. That's very interesting too. It's like, okay, here's my dilemma. I'm in this, this is poor me, poor me. I'm in trouble, whatever. And then what they do is they use distractions, some ideas that go away from wherever I was to another place. So great. Another important aspect of this discussion is your own will, or soul, as some people would call it. I think that's a very interesting juxtaposition. What is the difference between our will and our soul, and vice versa? It's a kind of an interesting concept, because I tend to think of a soul somewhat of like a physical entity of some sort, even though we can't really see it. But maybe it's more about our will. Maybe it's more about our sense of self, is what they're implying here. A big part of you is the basic entity that we would call Paora. You are part adventurer, part optimist, part cynic, part energy that wants to improve, wants to be better, and wants to overcome any experience that pulls you down and makes you feel less. I think that's in all of us. But we all have different parts of us, and they're all different, a little bit different here, they're different there. The basic essence of you does not give up and knows deep down inside what you are capable of and what your potential is, because of its knowledge of who you were before and who you will become after you relinquish all the illusions you carry about what you are not and what you cannot do. I just think that's very powerful, because it's very life-affirming to know that there's a part of us that doesn't give up and that knows what we are capable of and what our potential is. And it's because of this knowledge of who we are, like who we were before and what you'll become after. That's a very, very broad look at things, isn't it? Because we tend to look at ourselves as just now, here and now. But what were we before? And what can we be after with regards to this earth life? I think it's very interesting that when we relinquish all the illusions that we carry about who we are not and what we cannot do, then we start to see the bigger, the more accurate essence of us, is because we can see ourselves, our will, our soul, if you will, has the potential of what we can be and what we were. It does not take much to spark this aspect of you with a few words or feelings. Feelings are another aspect of you that is not well understood or talked about, because they are so elusive and fleeting most of the time. What causes feelings, and how do you shut them down or enhance them? Where do feelings come from? And if they are negative, do they come from you or another source? These are some intriguing questions. We do not really talk much about feelings and where they come from and what they produce, because they're not measurable. I mean, there's really no instruments that we can plug into ourselves that sense our feelings or the intensity of our feelings or interpret the feelings. It's something to do with our brain and our will. that we do not understand really where they come from, and because a feeling can be there for just a short time and then it's gone and something else shows up or another feeling shows up. And what causes that to show up? What causes it to go away? I just think it's a very interesting concept here is that these feelings are a big part of who we are. Our emotions, what's going on with us, how we feel in our life, they're huge. And yet most of us don't even talk about them or even know much about them. It's just that they exist and that they seem to have a great effect on us. You may consider writing and thinking purely cerebral. If this is the case, where do the feelings come from? Are they purely a result of your thoughts, or do they originate elsewhere? I think this is very interesting too, because my experience when I'm communicating with the divine, when I'm in this conversation with them, is that my mood changes, my feelings change, my body chemistry changes. I go to a very different place where I'm feeling content, rather calm, and in many instances blissful, because there are these beautiful ideas that are coming to me, and I'm feeling the ideas, but more importantly, I feel them. I feel their love, I feel their concern, their interest in me. And I don't know if you've ever had someone like that in your life where you can just feel comfortable and you don't feel judged, you just feel loved. When you're around them, you're in a different place and you feel differently about yourself, about your life, about everything that's going on. And so it makes for a very interesting experience. The point here is that we do not know if the feelings come from a thought, if they just come from nowhere. But in my instance, in this case, with regards to this conversation, I feel like that they can shift my feelings from remotely. Like it's almost like there's something going on where as soon as I get into communication with them, then my feelings change and how I am. So we really don't know, we really don't know where all the feelings come from. And I think that they're injecting a new concept that these feelings can come from outside of ourselves. And when they do, it makes an effect on us. Feelings come from the intelligence also. If you are feeling content or satisfied, where does this come from? Have you noticed that when you are connected to us, it is more than just a mental link? Okay, so I guess I was thinking about this already. Think about how you feel when you are with us. You have noticed that when you choose to combine with us, your body feels light and comfortable. This is a very profound concept because it extends into the whole realm of mental health. I maintain that one of the best possible things we can do for our own mental health is to connect to the divine, connect to the universal love, and to feel them and to be with them, because that is the highest level of consciousness, the highest level of feeling that we can feel as humans. Not only are we feeling our bodies and what's going on with us, but we're also feeling what they're sharing with us. And that when we agree to connect with them, to combine with them, that we feel light and comfortable. This is a beautiful concept because we have so many things that tend to pull us down and make us feel bad. There's the depression thing, there's the sadness thing, there's the anxiety thing. There's so much stuff that we have developed as humans in terms of how we are from multiple stimuli. And this is a great way of being able to shift out of that, to get into a light and comfortable place is so blissful. It's so wonderful. In my experience, this is like the best possible scenario. And it always raises me and lifts me into a new place. Inevitably, I get distracted from whatever it is that's going on with me. All my feelings of inadequacy, my insecurities, my feelings and worries, and all that stuff that's going on with me, it just kind of dissipates, it goes away. It makes me wonder why I don't do this more often. When you are in our presence, the feelings shift immediately from where you are to a new feeling of elation and optimism. And that's true. That's absolutely what I feel. It's kind of an optimism and elation, which is, to me, some of the healthiest emotions or feelings we can have. You feel happy and interested in what you will receive. You know your life, thoughts, and feelings will immediately shift to a new place where you fear less and smile more. In this state of bliss and contentment, you can relax, learn, and see more about what you're capable of. This is so great because this thing we were talking about before about getting into a place where we can learn, where we can understand, is amplified 1,000 times if we have this feeling that we are happy, we're content, and that we're interested in learning, in developing, in creating, in terms of developing ourselves more. This feeling of elation and optimism is the best possible scenario for us to have an openness, an ability to learn, an interest in learning. And fearing less, smiling more is so powerful. And when we do this, when we get to this place where we can see, okay, I'm capable of more. I am capable of this because I've shifted from the deep, dark place to a better place above. And there's so many new possibilities show up for us because we're optimistic. We're seeing that we are capable of more if we work through some of these issues and we have this. And it's all related back to this place is when we're in connection with them, that we're in this different mental, emotional, spiritual status. You think better in this state and you are more positive. Both situations are helpful to improve your writing and creative projects. You can clearly see how important feelings are to your development, and they are inextricably linked to your mind and the rest of your body. Feelings are the catalyst to the best outcomes. Isn't that an impressive statement? Feelings are the catalyst to the best outcomes. Their statement is very true, like they would tell us a lie. Both situations help our writing and our creative pursuits. So if we can get into this place where we're smiling more, we're less fearful, where we feel like we feel better, and we feel like we're being cared for and watched over, then at that level of feelings, then their statement is that feelings of this sort are the opening to the best outcomes. This next section, I think, is very kind of soothing, very kind of, I love these assertions that they give, these kind of statements. You are never alone. Just think about that just for a second. I know you've probably heard this concept before, but coming from the universal love, the universal design, coming from this immutable source of truth and understanding, just that one statement, 4 words, you are never alone. Can you imagine how this would change the world if people had this sense that they are not alone? How many series of depression and loneliness and feeling lost, of feeling like we're not enough, would go away if we had that sense, that deep inside knowing that we are never alone, that they're always there, that the love is always there. I feel like that one statement could change the world. It changes how we all think about ourselves, and it changes our experience of life, if we sense that we have help, we have care available to us, it really doesn't matter what's going on right here, right now in our lives and all the problems, all the different things that we've attached ourselves to. But it really changes that, because what happens is that we don't go to those deep, dark places where we feel alone. We have this sense that we are not, and so we just elevate the layers of where we go. We never go down here. We start here. We're not alone. We're not left by ourselves. And let's go from here and build up. All your thoughts, bodily processes, and impulses are being monitored and enhanced in each moment. Isn't that great? You think about your body and how it's functioning. It's, for all these years, it's been able to do all it does, and it does things most automatically. But the processes, our impulses, everything is being watched over and cared for. You have access to multiple sources of ideas, as we've discussed, and it is your choice as to how you tap into each one, including feelings. This is interesting because it says that feelings are a source of ideas. Boy, I think that a psychologist could really work with this. Like, when you have a feeling, what ideas flow from that feeling? And since feelings are so big in us and we have a sense of them, these feelings, if we were to go into them, then what we could do is we could get ideas, better ideas, and that's a source for our ideas. The universe is a collaborative space. Think about that just for a moment. Sometimes we feel like we're fighting against this group or this person or this ideology or this. What we're looking for here is a collaborative space. We're looking for a way to work with other people, to build each other up, to help them in their processes so that they help in ours, and that the community cumulatively grows and develops and expands into a better place. All you do can enhance or denigrate what is going on around you and those connected to you at the time. We have this choice. We can enhance what's going on with us and others, or we can denigrate and pull it down with ourselves and others. And all the time that we're connected with these other entities, they are connected to us, and we have this choice as to how we're going to affect them. Make the choices that help you to include the most partners and find ways to reciprocate to all those who help and inspire you, so the spirals continue upward. I love that. I love that. Let me just read it once more, because I think there's something really powerful here. Make the choices that help you to include the most partners. So we want this to be bigger than just us. We want this to grow into something beyond us, and we want to include the most people. This is a really big challenge for me, because I tend to be quite introverted, and I tend to go back into my cave quite often. So I think it's a very interesting challenge to expand beyond who we are, expand beyond the friendships and the connections we have, instead of retracting, instead of pulling back and feeling like people are after us. What we're doing is we're trying to connect with more, and that we're also trying to enhance those connections and the people that are around us. And to find ways to reciprocate to all those who help and inspire you. When you think about it, there are a lot of people that help you and that they have given to you, including all these connections that we talked about earlier. And there's certainly a lot of ways that we can figure out to reciprocate to them, to do things for them, to thank them, to appreciate them for all that they do. And what we're looking for, based on this recommendation, there's two different kinds of spirals. There's the one that goes up, and then there's the one that goes down. And I feel like that the important one, of course, is that we contribute contribute, other people contribute and collaborate. And we continue this process of incrementally building on whatever it is we are doing, the projects, the ideas, and we continue to work on an upward spiral. I feel like this is an important direction for us to think about, is like, what can we do to make the spiral bigger with more people and better, so that we all contribute and all enjoy this upward spiral that's going into a better place for ourselves and for other people. So these are my ideas today. I'm really grateful to you. The top chat is welcome to live chat, by the way. I want to do this on a regular basis. I feel uneasy in committing, but I want to do something on every Sunday. I want to do, when I say I will do something, I want to make sure I do it. And what I need to do is just buckle under and make this happen. But I feel like, in a way, Sunday morning's not a bad place to think about and develop spiritual concepts and ideas that come from the divine. In many ideologies and traditions, then that's a time of sacredness. And I was brought up in that similar space. But I think I want to do it in a different way, in a way that I've been taught from the divine, which is a little bit different than probably a lot of the organizations in town, in the world. Enough of that. So I want to just share with you that I love you, I care for you, I want the best for you. I thank you for your ideas, thank you for your contributions to the world, to the all, to those around you. And I want to continue to enhance and improve the communications that I have with you, so that when you come here, when you're with me, you feel cared for and loved, and that you feel like your needs, your interests are being addressed, and that they are important to me, and that I want to assist in any way I possibly can. With that, I want to tell you that I appreciate you, and I look forward to our next connection. Thank you.